Today marks 1500, 55th day of day lessons, data affections. And today we speak about two types of failure. Two types of failure. And if I think about the masses, I think that the 80% of the failures comes from inaction and 20% comes from action. When I think about the very successful people, I think that very, very successful people have opposite. They have 80, 90% of their failures from the things they do, and like probably 10% from the things that they don't do. But when you look into people who are really failing in life and really not making anything happen and mediocre, they have totally that 90%, 95% failures are coming from the things that they didn't do. And I think that we need to really understand there is a huge difference between those two failures. One, fail is you fail because you didn't take action when you had an option to do so. And other failure is you took the action, but in that action there was some kind of gap, and because of that gap, you failed as well. So today I really want to discuss like because I think that understanding there is that difference between those and understanding that okay like how to move from one failure to another, I think that's extremely important. So when I look into fail from what you do, so action failure. So short term, of course, could might be embarrassment, rejection, um, clear loss, clear consequences, so loss of time, money, relationships, and of course, there's an emotional, some kind of sting that could be shame or anything in between. But when we look into a long-term consequences of action-based failure, is that you have a better judgment, you have better understanding, you have better tolerance, um, better knowledge, wisdom. If you reflect on even confidence, it's interesting thing, but when you are having that action-based failure, action-based failure increases confidence because you know that you did your best, you know that you learned, you know that you get better, you know that you're wiser, and because you learned, you are better, wiser, stronger, faster. Now you have more confidence because of that, and that's like extremely beneficial. So action-based failure elevates you, elevates your courage, elevates your confidence, elevates your wisdom. Of course, this is a great place to be in. I survived that. Got better. I will take next action with the more wisdom. I will have a higher chance to succeed. Now, when you look into failures that come from the things that you don't do, this puts you in a comfort. Sometimes even relief that you don't need to take anything, not immediate pain or gain. And sometimes even ego stays in conflict. But if I look at your long-term consequences of inaction and that the failure comes from inaction, of course that leads to probably one of the worst things. That's regret, that's reduce of self trust, so weak self-trust whatsoever because you don't take any action. Um, Chronic stress that maybe you are left behind, maybe you're supposed to be way ahead, or something is wrong. Missed opportunities, of course, resentment to yourself or others, and I think that's sometimes could be even bitterness, and sometimes people call it bitterness. I just know the reality. So I think that when we need to look into those things, we need to understand um, how to understand those two different types. And I think that one thing is that um, which ones hurts like a failure. I think that when we look into failure that comes from action, the when we fail based on actions, it could be that you will hurt momentarily. Right now, you failed, you feel the pain because of that. While when you fail because of inaction, most likely you don't feel on at the moment anything because you don't do much things. But it's that you pay the price later. So that emotional pain or hurt will come later, even beside that you pay right now or you pay later. But when you pay later, it will be paid tenfold. So when you think about failure that hurts, I think that it's always better to truly hurt right now and learn from it and wait until regret kicks in. Now, does this failure teaches you? So when say like, okay, I failed, but I didn't learn anything. So maybe you failed because you didn't do what you're supposed to do, what you could do, and that's why you didn't learn anything. Of course, you need to reflect, but so action-based failures teaches you when you reflect on it. Inaction-based failures doesn't teach you, and that's a huge, huge thing because that's why I said it. When action-based failures makes you better, inaction-based failures doesn't teach you anything. So that means you keep the same. So you can be 10 years of failure of inaction and stay the same. But if you 10 years of action-based failure, that means in 10 years you'll be so much more wiser. And of course, that's why sometimes people have that overnight success after 10 years of failure because they are just so much better. Um, so building strength. Which ones build strength? That's already no-brainer now. If inaction-based failure doesn't teach you anything, doesn't make you stronger. But if it teaches you, if the action-based failure will teach you and make you stronger because you are more confident, you trust yourself, you know that you are resourceful, you're able to find a way, even though that you fail, but you know how much you went regarding your skills because you failed because there was some kind of gap in the way how you do in your strategy or anything between. So when you after reflect on that, now you're able to improve next time. So when I think about scars of those failures, because of course a lot of times we think about the damage that failure does to us. So when I think that the damage in action-based failures always leaves some damage. When we'll think about scars from action-based, as I said, it hurts momentarily, but it doesn't leave scars. So because you start to look into that as your lessons, not as failures. And I think that is a huge difference because people who really are action oriented look into their failures as lessons. And so that means that person who really took a lot of actions and failed, they never see that as failure as lessons. But the person who really don't take action, they failed even though they never tried anything. I think that's the biggest failure of all is not doing the necessary things. Even though that people write down on their paper, this is my goal, this is my plan, what I plan to do. But when we look into your actions, we can tell exactly how important things are. And I learned that just such a beautiful thing. People say like, I would die for my family. If you would die for your family, but you're not able to really, not willing to go and get out of your comfort zone to really do the right thing to achieve the things that you could achieve with your abilities. And I think that's again this sad part about success is that majority of people who would be successful not successful because just of inaction related failures. So I hope this reflects as well, but where you are regarding your success, are you not achieving your success because there is a gap in your skill set understanding, but you are taking actions and those are lessons that you gather, or are you failing because in your life there's no actions that are directed anything or just no actions whatsoever? I think that's extremely important because as discussed today, action-based failures are so much better for us. So we need to go experience, challenge ourselves, expose ourselves, and really make things better. So I hope you choose to win and see you tomorrow.